Miami!
To mission control, we have the Dolphins.
Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphins City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphins Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your hosts, Joe and Kevin DeHaven.
All right. Welcome in, everybody. Today is Season 1, Episode 11 on the Phinhub Show. Thank you guys for making it out this morning. Hope you're having an amazing day, and we're here to talk some Miami Dolphins football. Let's get right into it. So the AFC East is wide open. The Bills made not too much noise. Maybe their best move was in the draft with Keon Coleman. The Jets are a little bit healthier. But the Dolphins, in my opinion, have had the best offseason out of everyone in the AFC East. Notice I didn't mention anything about the New England Patriots, and that's for obvious reasons. But I believe that the Dolphins have had the best run in the offseason, and we are standing atop the AFC East right now when it comes to rosters. Wouldn't you say?
I completely agree. I think it's hard to put any of those other teams above us right now, just based off of the moves we have and the core that's coming back in this season, you know? I mean, we lost a couple guys in Robert Hunt and Christian Wilkins, but, you know, those aren't game changers or game wreckers, and we still have those guys on the team, so I'm happy with the guys we brought in, and I don't see any other team, you know, having a better roster on paper than us in the AFC East, so.
Yeah, top to bottom, I do think we're a better team. I think, especially when you go into like position groups, we're completely dominant across the board in the AFC East. For sure have the best wide receiver room. I think that's without a doubt.
Running back room
Looks to be a lock for the Dolphins too.
Second best tight end room, maybe.
Second best tight end room.
Behind the Bills.
Sure, behind the Bills, definitely. But that could be turning around this season too, because I have high hopes for Jonnu Smith. You know, we're not the only ones who believe this. Another big name that also believes the Miami Dolphins have the best roster in the AFC East and shouldn't be counted out for winning the crown this season.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can be that. We haven't had an AFC East title since 2009. Oof. So as you see here,
right?
As you see here, it's been completely dominated by the Patriots and then most recently the Bills. But yeah, maybe the Dolphins, this could be it.
I mean, last year should have been our year, right? But, you know, it's even sweeter if it's this year. You know, it's going to be the year that we're actually watching, which is coming up. And, man, I'm just dying to dethrone the Bills right now. We had the Patriots for so long. We can't have the Bills continue to have this type of success, man. We gotta be that team now in the AFC East. And I really think, you know, having this core, having this coach, Tua as our quarterback as well, I think we are set up for success. And I think, you know, the best is yet to come, honestly. So,
well, we're not the only ones who think so. Like I said, Rich Eisen also has some big expectations.
The Jets fan?
Yeah.
Rich Eisen?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
But he's not so biased.
No, he's not at all. Well, I'm saying
I really appreciate, you know, his
he's honestly
his takes.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to my wife, and I was telling her this morning when I was watching it, and I was saying that as a reporter and, you know, someone on TV, he's definitely one of my favorites. Not biased at all. Not like this guy Greenberg, right? Mike Greenberg.
Yeah.
From Jet Up.
Yeah.
That guy is just wow. Nah, it's
that
next level
that
stuff.
Jet Up room is terrible.
But
terrible.
yeah, why don't we take a look at this video and we'll analyze it.
All right, cool. Let's see what he says.
That's the question for the Miami Dolphins. Would you say this? Name me a team that needs to win and play a home game in order to advance to the Super Bowl more than the Miami Dolphins.
Like narrative purpose needs
not narrative purpose, like real life, like their system of playing football works better in the temperature
at a
that
home
they're
game.
playing,
I see.
or they're indoors. Could you say the Lions? Or the Lions damn near won in San Francisco in the NFC.
But the stats are real for Jared Goff home and away. Like, that's a real thing. He plays infinitely better.
Could you say Dallas?
I don't know that team is necessarily built to only succeed. Like,
Well, it's funny. Remember
But last year, the difference between home and away last year, that home they were as dominant as any home team in recent memory until the Packers showed up.
Well, speaking
in
of the
playoffs.
Packers, remember the end of the Rodgers run? They were not built, ironically enough,
That
to
was
play
I think that was more a
home
narrative.
games at Lambeau.
I don't know.
See, I look at the Dolphins being a
About
team
that.
predicated upon speed, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So is that what you're saying? Like,
This is what I am
you
saying.
put them at home where those athletes can just run.
Dude,
them
We
up?
saw it. They went to KC, but if they got to go to Buffalo, if they got to go, if
And it's
New England's a
snowy out or
playoff team, if they got to
something,
go to
it's not-
Denver or wherever, it's like they're not built for that type of environment.
But optimal weather, you
Hey,
put them out there.
let me just say this. Let me just read this to you, okay? Tua at the quarterback spot. Running backs. Raheem Mostert, Devin Achane, Jalen Wright. Okay? Don't forget, Jeff Wilson Jr.
right.
is on this team, too. He's fourth on the depth chart at the running back spot going into training camp. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios, Malik Washington. Remember I told you about that kid before the draft? And he was a Northwestern transfer, I believe Northwestern to Virginia, and he set every record at Virginia.
Yep.
And then, Odell's there now. Jonnu Smith, who the Patriots removed from your fantasy radar and put him on a milk carton for 2 years.
But then last year with Atlanta was awesome.
Alec Ingold, who is a dynamite running back, fullback in a use check mold, which is what his role is for this offense. Guys, name me a faster offense.
I don't think there is a faster. Exactly, Tyree. I don't think there is a faster.
There isn't a faster offense in the NFL with a guy in Tua that hits a back foot and gets rid of it.
Well, when you have a
Supposed
game
to.
guarantee a home playoff game, you better win it.
Damn straight. You're not wrong. But again, it's Chubb and Phillips. Are these guys going to come back? They got Chop Robinson, Shaq Barrett's on the team. I mean, they are loaded.
Calais Campbell.
The Dolphins. That's right.
Campbell, yeah.
They got Calais Campbell. Year 31 for him. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're third.
very well.
Third to go back to the caller's point.
Yes.
Bills favorite to win the AFC East plus 165. Jets plus 185. Dolphins plus 210. Why are they third?
Jalen Ramsey is sitting back there now. Jordan Poyer is on the team now because he was one of the cap casualty veteran cuts
crazy.
in Buffalo.
How these are all Dolphins fans.
Javon Holland
Basically
is
saying
still
the same
patrolling
names that we always say.
in
and,
the
like, we're super
secondary,
excited
which
about,
is
right?
he is.
And
You know what
they're
he's
like,
great at?
oh, shit.
He's great
Yeah, they're
at
stacked.
picking off a Hail Mary at the end of a half and running it the whole
Yeah,
way back.
We got to take that
He's
bet.
great at that. I saw him do that once.
The Dolphins winning the AFC East?
Yeah.
All right, so
That was a prime deal. I
they're
think.
set, man. The Dolphins are flat out set. And everyone's talking about the AFC North for good reason and the AFC West because of who's sitting atop and who's joined it and the coaching staff. And then the AFC South, I think everybody
That was
considers one of those
Yeah.
sneaky, really good divisions. Dolphins should be ranked first to win the division in the AFC East.
I kind of think so.
They should be.
Seems like great
because
value
the Bills are, again, we're just talking about on paper, off season, getting ready for the season. They are potentially in a transition moment. Potentially. The quarterback can basically say, we're transitioning 0.0 here. I'm still Josh freaking Allen, and we've got this thing. And Jared Cook could be dominant. And they could also get Keon Coleman and his Macy's jacket coming for you, right?
$7,999.
Okay,
winter
exactly.
clothes in the summer.
So, and they can get back their defensive players. Matt Milano sneaking around, coming back, right? And the Jets get Aaron Rodgers back. Is it just plug Aaron and play? I don't know.
I don't know.
And then obviously, and I don't mean to
What
just,
is, right?
and then there's the Patriots, but I think that you have
That's
to.
totally fair.
Okay,
They're
fine.
27-1 to win the division. It's not happening.
Yeah. So yeah, you see that it's not just Miami and Dolphins fans that think we've put something special together it's also spread out to the rest of the analysts
Yeah.
among the NFL.
And it's actually beautiful because Rich Eisen is a Jets fan, and then you got the other guy across from him, which is a Patriots fan.
Right.
So they're not the only. They're not. There's absolutely no bias there. In fact, they probably despise the Dolphins, just as much as we despise the Jets, the Patriots, and the Bills.
Yeah.
But they're basically saying like that's the team to beat. I don't know why they're ranked third, in the odds to win the division, but if they had to pick, they're picking the Dolphins to win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, not win it all, to win the division, which we agree with that as Dolphins fans. But kind of helps me with my, analysis and, saying that, the Dolphins are going to win the AFC East and all the moves that they've made, and Calais Campbell, Jordan Poyer, Jonnu Smith, Odell Beckham. These guys are reading the same players that we brought in, and they're like, wow, yeah, this team's stacked. They've done a lot to improve this team.
Yeah, they're definitely taking notice of that, but they also address something that is very true, an obvious truth that the reality that we've had the last, I think it's 4 seasons, and it's the Bills. The Bills have been dominant. The Bills have been stepping on the Dolphins now for these 4 years. They've taken over the AFC East, and even though the Dolphins on paper, in my opinion, have the best roster right now, at the end of the day, you got to put it together on the field and actually go and win a game against the Bills.
Yeah.
And it's something that, we have done, but
Not enough.
we haven't done it enough. And I think that there needs to be an emphasis in those games, especially, which I'm sure there is. But these games need to be statement games where the Dolphins go in and blow the doors off in Buffalo and just go in with a bang, and just put the Bills on notice and say, like, hey, it's our turn now. You guys can step back and, figure something else out for the next, hopefully 10 seasons. But the Dolphins are going to take it from here and reclaim.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to add to that. And last year, you felt like that was coming, right? I think we were 3-0 or something going into that Bills game.
Yeah, 3-0.
And we were just slapping people. We were really. That was the highest I was on this Dolphins team, the offense, all that. Right before that Bills game, I'm like, you know what? This is our time. We're going to destroy the Bills. Finally stop Josh Allen. But, as soon as you step on the field and you see Josh Allen out there, I don't know what it is. All the Dolphins decide they can't tackle that one dude. He just runs over them, passes the ball like a maniac. But I'd like to think there's going to be a big emphasis on stopping him this year. There has to be some level of creativity to stop this man. It's not like he is Patrick Mahomes or anything crazy. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he has his faults as well, and that's turning the ball over. And I'd like to think that someone like Jordan Poyer, is gonna
have the inside scoop.
He's gonna give us a little recipe to be like, hey, this is how you stop Josh Allen. This is what I've seen work against him. This is what I think we should do. Maybe he sees something in the middle of the game that he's in. He's basically, he could be the quarterback of the safeties out there. You know what I'm saying? And maybe tell Javon Holland, hey, look, I see this coming. So be in the right spot. Whatever the case may be, I think we are primed now to beat the Bills. I think it's to win the division, and I'm super pumped for it.
Well, the Dolphins also did do something personnel-wise, like you mentioned before, bringing in a guy like Jordan Poyer, who's very familiar with Josh Allen's game. But aside from that, we already got David Long last season. This season, we brought in Jordan Brooks and who's this guy from Cleveland that we also brought in?
Anthony Walker
Jr. So with guys like that, that might be able to help with Josh Allen, running the ball. And even though we do have high hopes for the Dolphins and we love the roster, there are people close to home like Marcel Louis-Jacques that actually says, hey, it's not the Dolphins until it's the Dolphins. And this is what he had to say.
I've been covering this division now for 5 years. I have to say, until I see Miami beat Buffalo in a game that matters, I can't say this is their division to lose. I've seen it time and time again where they should win. They're favored to win. They're this, they're that. They have the momentum. And there's just something, there's a mental block about beating the neighborhood bully that they have not gotten over yet. So until I see that happen, I cannot count the Bills out.
It's really great, a perfectly eloquently put point.
Yeah, so he definitely has a point there. Although, like we said, on paper, we're looking real nice, and the Bills probably got worse on paper this offseason. It's not the Dolphins' division until it's the Dolphins' division, and they take it from the Bills.
Yeah.
So hopefully this season they can wrap it up and actually put it to.
And it's interesting, right? Because they're saying how the Bills are the bully in the division. I think that is by far the truth. You know, they've been kind of bullying the whole division for a couple years now. Not a couple, actually, a few. It's been like 4 years, I would say. And I feel like the only team that's had a good amount of success against them has been the Jets. The Patriots a little bit, but they've completely had our number. And it's been Josh Allen. He actually, if you look at his stats against us, it's crazy, you know? So
it also looks like the Bills really get up for the. I think they've seen that the Dolphins have been coming up the last couple of seasons. So I believe they've made an emphasis to say, like, circle us and be like, all right, we're not letting them get a chance.
Yeah.
We're not going to let them get some momentum because, you know, if the Dolphins take those Bills games, that alone changes the season because we have the Patriots on lock. We go 2-0 against them ever since Tua's been here.
The Jets. Every time Tua plays, he beats the Jets.
Exactly. So it looks like what the Dolphins have is just the problem with the Bills.
Just one more team, bro.
If we get the Bills number now too, that's a division sweep waiting to happen.
No, you win the division. I mean, without a doubt.
And that
if you
alone
sweep
is 6
your
games
division.
right there.
Yeah.
You know?
But just, you know, like saying exactly what he said about them being the bullies against us, that's 100% true. But I think now is the season to become the bullies, right? Because the Bills, obviously, they didn't make any improvements on their roster. In fact, they got worse. You know, they lost Stephon Diggs, which, in my opinion, made Josh Allen into the quarterback that he is today. If he didn't have Stephon Diggs, I don't think you would see this type of quarterback right now. You know, they brought in Curtis Samuel, they brought in Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's a rookie. We don't know what they're gonna get out of him. In fact, he wasn't anything special. There's a reason why he slipped to the second round when, you know, early last year they thought that he was going to be, you know, one of the first round picks, one of the first wide receivers taken off the board. We saw a guy like Ricky Pearsall get picked ahead of him. I don't think he's enough to basically, you know, put that offense over the top. And obviously the biggest threats they have on their offense is Dawson Knox and Kincaid, you know, at tight ends, and Cook, you know. But yeah, it's about becoming those bullies. I think we have made the moves to become those bullies as well. I think we got some dogs in that room. Jalen Ramsey is one. Calais Campbell, you see the way that guy pumps everyone up. I feel like he's going to be in the huddle and be like, yo, we're going to take these guys' necks off. Like, that's it. Like, we got to destroy them. And, you know, it's kind of funny because we've talked about Christian Wilkins. He didn't have that dog mentality. He was just funny and, like, yeah, he's a beast on the field, right? He's just, I don't know. He's yanking towels. He's making jokes. Like,
I don't know if
I don't dislike him.
I don't know if you have to count him out being a dog or not. I can see where he was a dog. He was a guy that was he was getting into it with players on the opposite.
Yeah,
you know.
But you see a guy like Calais Campbell instead. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I'm saying you see a guy like Calais Campbell and he sounds like, dude, I want to rip that guy's throat out.
Calais Campbell is a legend.
Yeah,
that guy
exactly.
That guy's paid his due to be.
And this isn't a knock on Christian Wilkins. I love Christian Wilkins. In fact, if we had the money for him, it would have been fantastic. Not at that price point, not at $27 million a year. It's not my money, but you know, you do want to spread the money out so that you could play other players, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's the time, and we definitely got to get that done. That's the biggest thing holding us back, believe it or not.
Yeah. So obviously, a big piece to the Miami Dolphins is the quarterback position and what to make of Tua Tagovailoa and his contract situation. But we actually got a pretty positive update recently from Jeff Darlington, a very reliable source, and this is what he had to say.
Yeah, we've got a couple negotiations going on right now, Ryan, that we can discuss here, starting with Tua Tagovailoa, of course. That is the most pressing. That is the one that the team continues to try to get done with Tua. Now, the last time I was on air reporting about this, I had mentioned that we weren't quite to the point where market value had been reached in the eyes of Tua Tagovailoa to the point where they could reach a deal. And while I can't say that there's anything imminent in terms of a deal as we inch closer to training camp, I can at least tell you that there have been active negotiations since then. They continue to try to get this done with a very amicable approach. It does not feel like this is going sideways by any means. I still think we'll have to wait and see if it gets done before the season. Tyreek Hill, this is not something that is really that crazy or pressing either, but he is entering the third year of a 4-year deal worth $120 million. He was the one when he came over to the Dolphins who reached that $30 million mark. Now, Tyreek Hill and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, have very nicely hinted at the fact that they would like to get another deal done. They have seen this wide receiver market go pretty crazy in recent years, really topping him. 3 players topping his mark just this offseason alone. So I'm not saying that this is going anywhere, that this is going to be any drama. It's been very optimistic tones, but still something to keep on our radar if perhaps the Dolphins could get something done to make Tyreek Hill a little happier too.
So, yeah, he addressed 2 things there. It looks like the Dolphins are still working with Tua Tagovailoa. They're having active talks. And he says things haven't gone sideways yet. So still some positive news there. Nothing groundbreaking either. But hopefully they can reach an agreement before the season starts. And I'm hoping before training camp starts because, like we've mentioned so many times before, you really want to have your quarterback with a clear head and everyone else on the team not thinking about what's going on with Tua's contract situation. And it seems like players have become a little bit disgruntled about the situation with Tua. And another point that I heard recently too is, you know, Tua is a captain on this team, and it's not just like they gave him a C for whatever reason. No, he's a guy that became very vocal over the last couple of seasons, and he leads not only by example, but now he's found his voice within this team and the organization. So it's important that the organization does right by Tua and finds a deal that works for both sides. But if that doesn't get done, that's going to look really bad on the organization and on Chris Greer and whoever else is making decisions up there. But hopefully a deal can get done.
I don't think there's any way a deal doesn't get done. I think the Dolphins have their number. I don't think it's a number that they're like, we're not going above this or anything like to that nature. I think actually it's just a negotiation, man. They don't have any incentive to go up from where they are at this point, right? But once you start getting towards training camp and something's not done, let's see who essentially balks first, right? Like either the Dolphins are gonna say, shit, we want to get you done. We're already getting into training camp and we don't want anything to, I guess, affect our offseason and how much progress we can make going into the season, as far as the playbook, getting plays in. And Tua could do the same, and maybe it's about who folds first. And I think the Dolphins and Tua, neither of them have a need right now to be like, okay, yeah, just get the deal done, whatever. Yeah. They're both trying to get the best deal possible, Tua with more money and the Dolphins with less money, right? So at this point, I think if it comes down to Tua being pissed, maybe telling them some shit like, yo, if we don't get this done, I'm going to request a trade. Maybe the Dolphins be like, no, dude, you're good. Don't worry. We're going to give you the money. Like, just negotiations, man. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think there's a way that it doesn't get done. And like you said, it's not going sideways, right?
Yeah.
It's basically something's gonna get done. That's what I think. I rambled there, but
yeah. And before we get on to the whole Tyreek Hill situation and his contract negotiations now too, Mindsight's Hale actually had some some words to say about Tua and his contract situation. Someone that's pretty close to Tua too. And it seems like Tua's handling things like pretty well. It seems like he's pretty chill, and he talks about how level-headed Tua is, and this is what he had to say.
Really, really good at controlling the things he can control, and just all the things that he can't control, just leaving it. I think we've seen that with him being able to, maneuver through the narrative that's been surrounding him for his career, right? Like, you see how he's able to just avoid certain things and just always smile, and he's always singing, and he's just always being that playful guy, that loving guy, that leader, right? And if I'm watching all of these guys get signed and watching Trevor Lawrence get signed, that's actually, in my opinion, that gives me a lot of confidence. All of these guys are getting signed for that price point, and knowing what I mean to this team, knowing what's been signed, right? They just signed Odell Beckham. They already have a whole bunch of weapons with Waddle, and you got Tyreek. You have all of these weapons, so it's clear to me that they're trying to surround him with weapons. If I'm Tua, I'm chilling. Not chilling as far as physically chilling, but mentally, I'm not really worried about it. I'm not going to let that worry me, because I know, one, it's either going to come, or two, I'm going to put myself in a position by the way that I prepare for this next season where it has to come. From the outside looking in, there could be a lot of anxiety. I mean, I would be a little anxious if there was like a $50 million a year type of deal coming away. But at the same time, I look at it the other way of like, I'm still waiting for a deal that could forever change the life of me, my parents, my kids' kids. Yeah. And I know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. If it's still not there yet, I know that if I come in prepared for training camp and I do what I'm supposed to do, and I build off of the success that I was able to have last year, that I'll be great. I'll be in a good position. So I think he's, for the most part, he's going to be okay. I just sent him a text this past weekend, just telling him I love him and I appreciate him. And his response was just like Tua, love you, big bro. Send my love to the family. And so it seems like he is in a good place, man.
Yeah, so he makes a lot of pretty interesting points. The Dolphins did assemble quite the roster, and they went out and made some moves that show that they have faith in their passer right now, in Tua. You don't sign a guy like Odell Beckham and have, obviously, still with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, talk about moving a guy like Devon over to possible wide receiver snaps. Like, talk about all these different things that you want to do. Bring in Jonnu Smith. They've done so many different things to show that they know that they have the right passer in Tua. So I think it's true what he's saying. Tua should have faith right now and believe that a deal will get done. I'm pretty sure he's anxious to get a deal done, but I do believe that the Dolphins are making moves. They are negotiating with him, trying to keep him here for the next 4 or 5 seasons and make him one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just kind of the nature of the beast right now.
That's going to happen with any quarterback that's worth something. Tua is a franchise quarterback, so he's going to get paid like one, right? Now, is he the best quarterback in the league? Does he deserve to be paid as the best quarterback in the league? No, he's not, but he is the best quarterback for this system, for us, you know what I'm saying? And he's the best quarterback available for us. So at the end of the day, all these guys that came in, like Odell Beckham, Jonnu Smith, just those two, but those are pretty big names, right? They came to Miami for a reason, and that reason is to play with Tua Tagovailoa. It's not like they're like, yeah, I'll sign for cheap to go play with Miami. Like, no, they're like, damn, there's something special. I get to play with that quarterback. I get to play in this offense, this number 1 ranked offense that Tua helped make. You know what I'm saying? This isn't all just Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's a hell of a coach, hell of an offensive mind, but without Tua, we're not a number 1 offense. And a big thing about getting this deal done, which Omar Kelly was saying it, getting this deal done and the Tyreek Hill deal done, is it just opens up your window for another 2 to 3 years, because now you get to play with these contracts. You get to maybe even re-sign Javon Holland right now, right away. Play with the money to bring in Phillips. But, like, if there's a team or a front office like our front office can get this done, they can spread the money in a way that we can keep these guys, these core guys, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Phillips, maybe Jalen Ramsey, get an extension done. Tyreek Hill, I don't know if I said Tyreek Hill, but whatever. You know all the names, right?
Okay, so actually that brings me to a pretty good question. And I'm going to ask, the chat too. Mm-hmm. You guys can follow along and see who you think or what the priorities are. So let's list them 1 through 4, and then we have a bonus one at 5. But rate them or rank them based off of priority. You have signing Tua, extending Tyreek, extending Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, and then the bonus one will be possibly extending Jalen Ramsey.
Okay.
So rank those by priority, with one being the most.
Number 1, Tua.
So Tua's the priority here.
Number 2, Tyreek.
Extend Tyreek, okay.
Number 3.
So you got Jalen Phillips left, Jalen Ramsey, and Javon Holland.
I would put number 3 as... I'm not going to put Jalen Phillips, even though I want him to be extended, just because he has, basically this year, and he needs to prove himself coming off that injury, and he has next year as well, which we'll get a deal done with him. That talent doesn't grow on trees. We know what we have in them too. And then between Javon and Ramsey, that's actually a pretty tough one.
So you went with Jalen Phillips 3?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay.
So number 3 would be... I think I'm going to go with... The only reason why I'm going to go with Javon is because of the youth.
Okay.
But I think Ramsey is going to be just as important or more important to this team on defense. Because Ramsey has proved that he is, quite frankly, number 1 at his position group in the whole NFL.
Still.
I think so. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of being biased, but he did come off an injury last year. He didn't show any signs of slowing down.
He's got to be a top 5 guy still at this point,
and on the Rams, he didn't show any signs of slowing down either. So, he can prove himself to be back in that conversation at number 1. I don't understand the hype with Sauce Gardner. I think it's the NFL just trying to have that new wave, that... What are you doing, buddy? That new... the face of the NFL, right?
Yeah.
The number 1 cornerback now. So I'll put him and then, Ramsey at number 5, I guess, right? No. What did I say?
So it looks like you're going with Javon at
Tyreek,
3.
Javon, Ramsey, then Phillips.
So Phillips is last. You got Ramsey at 4.
And it's not
Javon
because
Holland at 3.
I want Phillips done, but we still have time with that, right?
Okay, cool.
Ramsey, the way the money's structured, he does, Scotty's alluded to this quite a few times. But he just smells that there's a extension coming in there. So I want it to get done. I would love for Jalen Ramsey to end his career in Miami. I know we've only had him 1, but that's a hell of a guy to have, as a Dolphin at the end of his, career. So that would be beautiful.
Well, yeah, hopefully the Dolphins can work something up with Tua, figure that out, because that's been a nightmare of a situation so far, and it's one of the things that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, and I don't want to continue talking about that for the next few weeks either. So
yeah, I don't think there's any reason to panic. I know it's almost annoying to continue talking about Tua, but it is a big thing. This is a guy that you look to be your quarterback for the next 6 years at least, and be your franchise quarterback. So I think it has all the fans a little anxious, especially the Tua supporters. There's a lot of guys that don't like Tua that are probably like, yeah, don't pay him. Oh, this proves that they don't like him, all this stuff, which I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just negotiations. There's no need to get the deal done right this second for either side, Now for Tua, once we're getting into possibly going into week 1 without a, without a deal, now you're risking injury.
Yeah.
Putting your money on the line for sure. So
yeah, I wonder from Tua working out with, what was it, 3D?
Yeah. Sorry, 3D.
What was it?
3D.
3D maybe.
Yeah.
He. I want to see if he has any more zip, because I did hear a report that it looked like he had a little bit more zip to his ball, and I would love to see some of that this season.
I think that's just going to continue to get better and better. And you saw that with Tom Brady as his career went on. He was getting stronger. His throws were harder. You know what I'm saying? I think with Tua, that's just, with coaching, with especially going a guy like John Beck, which is, a hell of a coach. Also, another thing we have to remember is that his injury is another year removed. His hip injury, you know what I'm saying? So he's another year removed from that. And it's just going to continue to get stronger. I mean, we've broken bones. I broke my 5th metacarpal, right?
Yeah.
Not to say that's anywhere near fucking with your hip. I remember the first year, every time I would shake someone's hand, it hurt like a bitch. The second year, I still felt it a little bit. After the third year, which I broke the same bone twice, it was just stronger. Like now I don't feel anything. I can shake someone's hand. They can shake my hand extremely hard, just like I do the same, and it's like stronger than ever. So I know bones kind of take a little bit of time, but
yeah, it takes time to heal.
And now he trusts his hip. Now he's falling different. He's able to take, which that was a big reason for his concussions.
Yeah, it's something. If you look at the replays too, you notice
he
that
would just whip back.
The way that Tua would fall, it's almost like he didn't trust something in his body because he would just whiplash his head back, and then
it wasn't a natural falling. Like it almost seemed like he was a guy that has zero athleticism. Or just like a clumsy dude, which he's not. I mean, if you're in the NFL, you're athletic.
It was very strange looking. Another thing I want to address too is that we were on Instagram this offseason a lot, and we mentioned that Tua was working with the quarterback guru, John Beck, and a lot of people went after us for calling John Beck a guru. We do remember his days playing quarterback for the Dolphins.
It has nothing to do with being a coach, so.
But that, exactly. It has nothing to do with being a coach.
With that logic, Mike McDaniel shouldn't be an NFL head coach.
Mike McDaniel shouldn't be a coach. I mean, Andy Reid, this guy doesn't look like he's in any kind of shape. How is he? But he's one of the best coaches.
But we're talking about a guy that actually played quarterback in the NFL. That, he did not have a great career. He was a second-round pick with us, right?
Well, the thing is that Tom Brady has worked with him. Lamar Jackson has worked with him. We mentioned quite a few big names that John Beck has worked with him.
It was House that Brady would work with, right? And John Beck.
If Tom Brady or John Beck was good enough to work with Tom Brady, I think he's good enough to work with Tua Tagovailoa too.
But was it John Beck or House? But, he's part of that tree. John Beck is underneath that guy, right? Tom House, I think. But, if these guys trust him enough, then obviously, not people on a keyboard can tell us otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy Tua went there. I know that he's going to get Tua right. And this is just another year of Tua working on his craft, being in the same system, all the same stuff. So I don't think there's any way that we don't come back stronger or better. Tua's going to be a better quarterback. Another year in the system. Same thing goes for our two best receivers, our two best running backs. We improved at the tight end position. We improved at the third wide receiver spot. The only spot that we did not improve in is right guard.
Yeah.
And, we brought in some guys, in Jack Driscoll. We still have Liam Eichenberg in there. Hopefully this guy can actually push Liam Eichenberg out of that right guard spot, Jack Driscoll. But
and we gotta see. It's not the funnest position to talk about, really. And
do you think Robert Jones has a chance of being the right guard?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about Liam Eichenberg, Jack Driscoll, and it's
kind of throw them at the wall, see which one sticks.
Anyone's got a chance, really.
Yeah. Would you like, and we talked about this, but would you like to see one more move made?
I would love to see one more move.
Maybe via trade, maybe a guy that,
Trade might be an interesting route, and I actually saw an article talking about potential players that could be traded, and one of them that actually made sense to me was actually trading a guy like Jeff Wilson. That makes a little bit of sense, just because I know he's a guy that can offer a team something, and right now he's a depth piece for us.
Maybe trade him back to the 49ers.
Maybe someone in the comments actually had mentioned in one of the episodes before, I think it was the last episode, they were talking about Jeff Wilson going to the Cowboys, which the Cowboys could definitely use another back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I would love to see Jeff Wilson get some playing time, not in Miami, because we have some road runners that I'm.
Yeah, if he's getting playing time here, something went wrong.
Yeah, so. Well, he is a really good depth piece for us.
He's great. So, honestly, that is
maybe not. Maybe you don't trade a guy like that away.
So let me ask you, which room is deeper, our wide receiver or running back room?
That's a hard question. Technically,
it might be the running back room.
I would say the running back room is deeper.
Because you throw Alec Ingold in there too, just put him in there.
Technically, I would say, the running back room. And if you're throwing in Alec Ingold, definitely. Because Now, the way I look at it is you got 4 guys that could be starters. You know, and
legitimate starters,
and
yeah. Could be, not on every single team.
Not on every single team, but
they have
can
the
all be
ability to
starters.
be a starter.
I think maybe not Jeff Wilson. But even still, like he's been very solid for the Dolphins. So,
man, when we first got him and he played against the,
I really loved his running style.
Yeah, man, the Browns.
Yeah, that was.
He was pretty nasty with it, man. He was aggressive, you know, which is something we haven't had in a long time, you know. And I would like to see someone step up and be that guy. Maybe just Jeff Wilson can be that guy this year for us, but.
Well, maybe what they do with Jeff Wilson is, and it might make sense for the Dolphins trying to make this long run into the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they transition Jalen Wright before just unleashing him game 1, let's say. Maybe he takes that 4 spot, get him, you know, acclimated into the game here and there, you know, over the first half of the season. And then, you know, basically keeping everyone with like fresh legs for that second half of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they do.
I think McDaniel has learned his lesson. I feel, because, you know, as far as, you know, running backs and wide receivers and all that, bro, I feel like it's every year we go at the end of the season and we're just banged up completely. If it wasn't Tua that one year, it's, you know, the rest of your position groups. And
well, I think that's the next part of, you know, what's going to make him a great coach. And, you know, we know that he can come up with these wizard-like plays.
Part of it that I learned, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is that the usage of our running backs and wide receivers, I need to look up the exact numbers. Maybe next show I'll talk about that. But it was among the highest in the NFL by far. And I think we were the lowest with tight end usage. So we were just running our running backs and our wide receivers into the ground by using them so damn much every game. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't, and that's what we're talking about. What we want is to have a more balanced attack,
yeah,
you know, along the whole offense. So,
well, just going to the receivers right now, having a guy like, let's say, Ozukanma, maybe he makes the leap this season. Okay,
red zone
he becomes the guy that we think he could be, and he could stay healthy. He can run the ball as well. He can run the ball too. That's one guy that's being added into the mix. You also pick up OBJ. So we basically added another 2 receivers that Tua hopefully can feel comfortable throwing the ball to. 2 really talented receivers. Then in the running back room, another year for Devon Achane. He got healthier now too. And then we add in Jalen Wright. And then now going to the tight ends. You bring in Jonnu Smith.
Jody Fortson.
And I still think Jody Fortson's going to make this team. I think he's going to be a nice surprise for Miami this season. So a lot of options for Tua to throw the ball around to, and for our running backs, it's completely different if they can use this group correctly. We're going to be able to spread out that ball, spread out the carries, and things should look better for the Dolphins going into the postseason health-wise.
And, you know, and something I feel like they really addressed this offseason is, you know, having that red zone threat. I feel like Odell is way better than you know, Waddle and Tyreek in that aspect for sure.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that can get up there and get the ball. Azukama coming in, just basically being healthy. Another guy that could be a really good red zone threat. Jody Fortson, bringing him in if he makes a team, that's another really good red zone threat. Jonnu Smith, you know. I feel like that is one area where we lacked, and it was a little frustrating seeing them throw that little fade to Tyreek in the corner of the end zone every single, like, third down. You know what I'm saying? But in the red zone. But I just think that is the next level to unlocking this offense. Being extremely dangerous in the red zone. Because, you know, when we get our long plays, you know, Tyreek's taking it to the house, Jalen Waddle's taking it to the house, Raheem Mostert, you know, Devon Achane. But if we can just get down there and basically have a really good chance of getting a touchdown every single time and not getting those stupid field goals, there's no way you could stop us, you know?
Yeah.
And the next level on top of that is to, you know, be able to drain that clock late into the, you know, into the game if it's a close game, you know, manipulate that clock. not give the other team a chance to come back. You know?
Yeah, let's see how Tua also looks with his new set of wheels. Apparently, with the whole slimming down and everything. I'm just curious to see.
Hey, man, you know, someone that I really do trust with getting better in every single aspect of his game is Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, he's been doing it year after year after year.
Every time there's a question of what he can do, he comes back and he proves it. So,
yeah, you
know, it's his arm strength for one, throwing the deep ball. He's among the best in the league. There's actually a graphic, if we can put it here. Yeah, and you just see he has the highest. He throws the best ball with the highest chance of catching it, and one of the worst in the NFL, ironically, is Justin Herbert.
That's crazy.
So you know, people want to say how they want Justin Herbert so bad. Look at that arm.
The stats don't lie, man.
Hey, that big ass arm doesn't mean that you can throw a really good deep ball. So Tua's definitely one of those guys, and
yeah, that's where a lot of people get it twisted. You know, the NFL isn't a beauty pageant. You know, and ballers ball. You know, it doesn't matter if you look the part. You got to be able to play the part. So,
exactly.
But anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thank you guys for making it out this morning. We hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. And until the next one, fins up.